Now, we all have sadness. We all have sorrow. It's just part of the human condition. It's almost impossible, I think it's impossible, to live as a human being unless, of course, you're born without any emotion or no emotional range. I think it's impossible to live as a human being and not ever have any sadness, any sorrow, any hurt. I think it's impossible. I mean, people die, bad things happen, you know, stuff happens. So I can't imagine that too many people have ever been able to get through their entire life from birth to death without feeling any kind of sadness or any kind of sorrow. So it is a very common thing, you know, sadness, hunger, thirst. They're all just parts of the human condition. But sadness is something that people have a tendency to really struggle with. So today on Ask an Aquarius, we're going to talk a little bit about sadness. I found a quote that I really, really like. And I want to read this quote to you, and I want to talk to you about what it's saying and how we can try to apply this wisdom to our own lives. Okay? So first I'm going to do the introduction, and then I'm going to tell you this quote by Hafiz, a 14th century poet. Hi guys, I'm Queen Alset Haru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and pass it on to somebody else who might like it too. Also, please leave us a positive comment in the comment section and give this video a big thumbs up. If you have enough time, please stick around to the end of the video because I'm going to read two of my favorite positive comments from previous videos, and one of them might be yours, or you might want to hear what I have to say about it. Also, underneath this video is all my information. If you would like to get a reading done, please email me. If you would like to get some Ask an Aquarius merchandise, the link is underneath this video. If you'd like to become one of my patrons and see my other series, my magical series on Patreon, my Patreon information is underneath this video. If you would like to give me a gift, my Amazon wish list is underneath this video. And if you would like to give our channel a love donation, my PayPal is underneath this video. So let's talk about our quote from Hafiz, okay? So like I said, Hafiz is one of my favorite poets. Hafiz, Rumi are two of my absolute favorites because they talk a lot about love and the human condition and feelings. And, you know, I'm a third decan Aquarius and that's my thing. So I came across this years ago and I saved it on my computer and I've had it ever since. Because as I talk to people and do readings, I see this. I see it in myself too. So I wanted to tell you guys about it. Now let me read it to you, okay? It says, what do sad people have in common? It seems they have all built a shrine to the past. And often they go there and do a strange wail and worship. What is the beginning of happiness? It is to stop being so religious like that. Hafiz, 14th century. So what is Hafiz telling us here? First of all, he's letting us know that people who, he calls them sad people. So these could be people who are sad or people that are going through like depression or something like that, depending on what kind of depression it is. Some depression is more of a chemical imbalance, so it needs to be medicated. And other depression is because of, like he said, something that's hurting the person that they haven't been able to heal and reconcile. So anybody who's sad will fall underneath this category, even if you're just sad for a little bit of time. And he said that what these people do, and I see this in myself, is that they have built a shrine to the past. So whatever it is, in most of these cases, that's really hurting them is in the past. It's long gone. Somebody has died, a spouse has passed over, you know, they've lost a child to miscarriage. Something awful has happened. My grandmother died when I was like 7 or 8. She died in 1984, and I was like 7 or 8 years old. I used to always have this shrine to the past. Her picture was right over my couch, you know, so I could go and talk to her constantly. And not that it was a bad thing, but that it was holding me in that sad energy, you know. And that's what he's talking about, this shrine to the past. And a lot of us do this. I told you guys before, I used to watch the show Intervention. Intervention is one of my favorite shows. And one of the things that I noticed about Intervention, and I've seen this with my clients too, is that everybody on the show was holding on to hurt from the past. Watch the show, you'll see it. Their mom abandoned them. Their father was cruel. Their grandmother didn't like them. Somebody, you know, did something unthinkable to them in high school or college. I mean, it went on and on and on. I watched so many episodes of this. In every episode, there was some huge thing that happened to the person, or a series of things, or different things that happened at different times that they still were holding on to, and it was so bad that they turned to self-medicating with drugs or alcohol or gambling or some kind of an addiction to try to fill that hole. And all of us, including myself, who've done this, we have like this shrine to the past. And then Hafiz said, not only do we have the shrine, and then we go there. We go to the shrine. So whatever the situation is, we keep revisiting it over and over and over and over again, constantly. And we go do what he calls a strange wail and worship. So there is some tears about it. There's some hurt about it sometimes. And then there's like this constant, you know, you're going back to it, you know. And I see this with a lot of people, and it's really difficult because it's like you don't ever want to tell a person, look, get over it. You know, you never want to say that to a person because that's just heartless. But the bottom line is that many of us hold on to these hurts for far too long, and they hurt us time and time again. I knew a woman that was a friend of mine, and when we were friends, every year around the same time, here's that shrine, around the same time, she went through her wail and worship. She had several things happen at the same time in that year. So it was October, that month. So the month of October, several horrible things happened to her. She had a miscarriage. Her birthday was that month. A couple of things happened to her, but the birthday was the good thing. But it was all these bad things that happened. And she couldn't enjoy the one good thing, which was her birthday, because all of these bad things happened that she had built a shrine to. Now, mind you, when I met her, she was 50. She was 50 years old. So all of the things we're talking about happened 40, 45, you know, a long time ago, 35 years ago. Everything was decades ago, many, many decades ago. And she still had this shrine. Every year around the time it came up, she would her energy would start to get lower. She would start to talk about these things. She would pull out scrapbooks. She would go back through it with this wail and worship every single year. Stuff that was 30 and 40 years old. Now, mind you, because it was still bothering her, that's why this was happening. So my thing is, from the outside looking in, is like, okay, so some healing work needs to happen here, because you're doing this wail and worship over this shrine of things that happened to you decades ago that are affecting you today. She would spend the whole month of October crying, in bed, anxious, depressed, and I knew her for 10 years. So every year it happened religiously. Like he said, stop being religious like that. It happened religiously year after year after year. So every year when it happened, I just held her hand through it. You know, I would talk to her, hold her hand through it. But the bottom line is that she never, and to this day, I don't see her anymore. But to this day, I guarantee you she hasn't reached happiness if she hasn't healed and took down those shrines. It was multiple shrines to the past. So a lot of people do what Carolyn Myss, I'm reading this book by Carolyn Myss. The book is called Why People Don't Heal and How They Can. When I finish this video, I'll put a link underneath it. It's an excellent book. And one of the things that she talked about in it is she said that people stay in their victim state. But they don't say that to you. They tell you they're healing. Oh, I'm going to my support group. I'm healing. I'm seeing a therapist. I'm healing. But they're really not. They're staying in their victimhood. They're staying at their shrine. They're doing their wail and their whine. And they're telling everybody else, I'm healing. But the truth is they're not. Because when I talk to these people, a lot of times when I do their readings or we have discussions, there is no healing going on. They're just staying stuck in the womb. Can you imagine if you cut your leg and it never healed? In 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, you would not be still telling me, oh, it's healing, it's healing, it's healing, it's okay, I'm healing. I'll be looking at your leg like, it's still bleeding. Like, why is it bleeding 9 months later? Anybody in their right mind would ask themselves that question. But when it comes to like something like this, hurt, sadness, sorrow, a lot of people don't. They just continue to let it bleed. And they never think, you know, maybe I should try a different treatment. Maybe what I'm doing isn't working for this wound. Maybe I need to do something else. So Carolyn said that most of us stay in our victim when we do that. And we're repeatedly victimized by the anniversary, by the shrine, over and over and over again. So what Hafiz is saying is the process of happiness is to stop holding on to the shrine. First of all, if you want to hold on to the shrine, okay, but don't go to it and whine. He didn't say whine, he said worship and wail. So I go whine. I go whine like, but he said worship and wail. So the idea is don't go worship and wail so often. You know, if you can help it, heal it. If you can heal it, you can take down the shrine and release the past and have peace across the board. Especially if it's something that happened a long time ago. I know another woman who always calls herself a survivor. She had an assault, assault of the physical kind, and she calls herself a survivor. And we were all talking about it. We were sitting around, and I was like, so at what point do you go from survivor to being healed? At what point does that incident stop defining your present tense and your future tense? And she had never thought about that. She just figured she would always be in that energy. And I was like, well, you know, when you heal that energy, you don't have to stay stuck in it anymore. So over time of us talking about it, she realized that she was holding on to it because she was still angry about it. And if you're still hurt, if you're still angry, then you will not have released it. And then you're unable to stop being religious because the anger keeps coming up for you over and over again. So some people will not be able to do what Hafiz said. Some people will not be able to stop being religious like that. But I'm saying for any of us, including myself, who can do this, it would be good if we can heal the past. Do things to forgive and release. I always say forgive and release. That's how we're able to heal the past. And a lot of us have had awful things happen. So I understand, like with the woman who was assaulted, her anger is still very present. until she releases and deals with the anger, she's not going to be able to take the shrine down. So you have to deal with the feelings that you're feeling before you can even tackle this subject, before you can even think about it. So if something happened to you a long time ago, or some things happened to you a long time ago, things from the past I'm talking about, not stuff from today, look at those things from the past and see which ones can you heal today. Which ones can you let go? Which ones can you release? If any of them. And if you're at that stage, like he said, stop being religious about at least those shrines. You might have 20 shrines to different times of the past. If you can let go 1 or 2, that's a start. And then you can continue healing and working through the feelings through the other ones that you're still holding on to. So when Hafiz said that, it touched me so deeply, because I was like, wow, I do this. My clients do this. My friends and family does this. And I'm like, we don't have to do this. We don't have to go to those hurts from the past and wail and worship at those hurts. We don't have to. We can walk away from those shrines. We can say sayonara if it's somebody who passed away. We can release them and know we'll see them again. There are healthier, more productive ways to be able to do this, but it can only happen when we're ready. So if you find yourself at your shrines to the past, doing your wail and worship, just consider maybe you can do something else, like look towards healing methods. Okay? All right, so I thought that was really profound. I love Hafiz. Hafiz is spelled H-A-F-I-Z. So if you want to check out some of his work, he's famous online. So now let's take out 2 positive comments. Maul LaSoul TV. Okay, Maul LaSoul TV. Am I reading that right? Okay. Maul LaSoul TV said he was definitely an Aquarius. Oh, he's talking about Extension, the rapper that got murdered, the Aquarius guy I talked about. He was definitely an Aquarius, smart young man, very intellectual. Oh, he was smart. Okay. He was just looking for love in the wrong places. How many of us have that testimony? I hear that. And was turning it all around. So he was changing his life, and it just ran out of time. He made rap, R&B, trap music, folk music, and created his own wave of music. Wow. So he was smart. Yeah, I think that when I looked at his story and I told you guys about it, I feel like he just ran out of time. You know, every moment that you're alive, you have a chance to turn your life around. You have a chance to repent. You have a chance for salvation. You have a chance to heal the past. Every moment that you're breathing, his breaths ran out before he had a chance to turn things around. Because by all accounts that I've read, he was trying. He just didn't have enough time. It takes time to go from really messing up to not messing up, you know? He didn't have enough time to turn things around, unfortunately. And that happens to a lot of people. Tracy MUA. Hey, how are you? Tracy said, yep, I always hold myself accountable. Thank you. I do not play. Yep. Dated 2 Aquarius and a Gemini. Their communication skills were off for me. My birthday is 2/1. So February the 1st is her birthday. So she's dated an Aquarius and a Gemini, and their communication wasn't good. Something's wrong with that situation, because Aquarius, I can kind of see that. Aquarius, I have a tendency to not be communicative until they really, really trust you, and you're, you know, we got verbal diarrhea at that point. So maybe y'all just didn't get to that point where that energy had changed. And the Gemini too, Geminis are usually known for communication. So you must have ran across a Gemini who either didn't want to be communicative or had some issues with communication. And both of those 2 signs, especially Gemini, are ones that are able to get past that. So I guess they probably just didn't learn that trick yet. All right, guys, please come back soon because I got a lot more to say. See you later.